What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing another tier list. So this is going to be on the Atlas update. If you are watching this, as time goes by, obviously it's going to be outdated, but this is the most updated one if Atlas just came out. Alright, so make sure to keep track of that and you are aware before going into the video. But yeah, a lot of people have been requesting for this, so finally it's time to update it and show you guys the new tier list on the Atlas update. So let's go on. The introduction, this is pretty much just telling you that this tier list will be based off solo queue, duo queue, trio queue, and 5-man on a mythical glory elo. Alright, and also on my perspective, whenever I see tournaments on MPL PH, MPL Indo, MPL Singapore, and Malaysia, so these are going to be based off that. So some heroes that you'll see here on the tier list, they might be on a high tier, but you don't see them on solo, duo, or trio queue, but they get used often on tournaments. So that might be giving that might give a reason why they're on the high tier list, because they're used on the tournament, and if they're utilized correctly, they should be on a higher tier list. So make sure to keep track of that. Now, if you have a problem with the tier list, or if you have any feedback or criticism, make sure to comment that below. Just do it respectfully, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so let's go here. This is pretty much the tier list explanation, explaining that if the heroes' names are on green, it means that they're pretty easy to master. Their difficulty to use is pretty easy. Now, if their names are on yellow, they are medium difficulty to use. They're a little bit harder to master, and for red, they're the hardest heroes to master. Alright, so the tier list will go like this. Highest tier is going to be on S tier, going all the way down to D tier. S tier being the highest, going down to A tier, B tier, C tier, and then D tier. Alright, so let's go on. The first tier list that we'll be looking at is the Marksman tier list. Now, the hyper carry strategy is a very popular strategy right now, so Claude and Kari will be on top of the tier list on S tier. The Claude hyper carry strategy is really working right now because his late game is super insane. His AoE damage and his survivability with the second skill, teleport, is really good. The Kari is really good right now, probably the strongest late game marksman right now in the game. Is Kari, and if you get to late game as fast as possible with the hyper carry strategy, Kari is insane. So that's why they're in S tier, and that's why you see those heroes being banned so often in solo, duo, or trio queue, or even 5-man. Alright, so for A tier we have Kimmy. You could do funnel Kimmy, but the problem with Kimmy is you only have early game to mid game. If your game is taking too long, Kimmy falls off late game, and she's kind of done for when late game comes by, and that's why she goes down to A tier. Now, Wanwan used to be in S tier, but will go down to A tier due to his early game, her early game being super weak, and her late game is really dependable on if her ulti will reset or not. And knowing that there's a lot of people that know how to counter this 1-1 by now, she will go down to A tier. Bruno, the new Twilight armor is really doing a good job against this Bruno. Bruno used to be an S tier in my opinion, but now will go down to A tier. But the funnel strategy also does work for Bruno, so you can try that. His late game is still super strong, but like I said, with the Twilight armor right now, this Bruno is gonna stay on is gonna be going down in A tier. Now, Roger, a lot of people bash me for putting Roger on A tier before on my previous tier list, and they're probably regretting that a lot right now. Because if you watch the tournaments and you look at RRQ, who is the winner for season 5 of MPL Indonesia, and the way they use this Roger is actually insane. So for the people that bash me because I put Roger on A tier before, well, now's the time that you listen, because I get this tier list from Coach James, which is the coach from RRQ himself, the current champion of MPL Indo. So if you guys have a problem with this tier list, then for some people it looks weird, but for me it's very logical. So hopefully you guys understand that. For Granger, Granger used to be in S tier as well. Actually, he used to be played like every single game, but Granger will fall off. The problem with Granger probably is his late game is not as strong as Claude and Kari. Obviously, if you snowball, and it's fine, but if you don't snowball, Granger falls off a lot late game. It's really not as strong as Claude and Kari at the current moment. B tier will go down to Clint, Hanabi, Moskov, Irithel, and Leslie. So Leslie and Irithel, they have really high burst damage. Alright, so that's what's going for them, but they have really weak early game. which is the big problem for them. Moskov, on the other hand, has a lot of DPS, but the problem with Moskov is his range is super short, which his survivability goes down that much because his range is super short. His early game is pretty weak as well, so that's why he stays in B tier. Clint's late game is pretty insane, but the problem is his early game is just really bad. Hanabi as well, early game is really bad, late game is good. So that's why they stay in B tier. C tier, on the other hand, Yisin Shinmiya, and then D tier Layla. Alright, so let's go on to the next tier list. Next tier list will be Mage Core tier list. Alright, it's gonna be Mage Core tier list. It used to be just Mage tier list, but I put Mage Core tier list just to be more specific. These are gonna be the mages that you want to use at mid lane as a main damage dealer and as a core for your team, not as a support, because a lot of mages are being used as support right now, and that's why I wanted to be more specific on that. Alright, so let's go on with the tier list. S tier will go on to Farsa, still deals a lot of damage. Her range is pretty insane, the cooldown's pretty insane, survivability is still insane with the bird. Selena, early game is insane but falls off late game, but you know, going what's going on right now with the game, which is a lot of map hacking going on. A lot of people like banning Selena, but she is still considered S tier in my opinion, even without the map hack, honestly. Just giving the wards, and she is a very flexible hero. As a support as well, she gets used as support as well, and is really effective. So Selena will stay on S tier, and she gets banned a lot pretty often in solo queue, duo queue, and trio queue. Esmeralda will stay in S tier, and Harith, you might not expect this. I was actually close to putting them on A tier, but they are the only mages right now that are being consistently used in the tournaments as a core. Alright, as a core. So I will put them on S tier just because of that. Alright, so hopefully you guys understand that. For the people that are just skipping through the video and not listening to what I'm saying, then obviously they're not gonna understand that. They're probably gonna bash me in the comment section. But let's just go on with the video. Even though they got nerfed, they are still pretty good as a core, honestly. You can honestly do a hyper carry strategy with Harith, and same with Esme. They could work for both and still do really decent. Now Goshen used to be in S tier, but will go down to A tier. Lunox stays in A tier, Kagura stays in A tier. Zas used to be in B tier, goes up in A tier, because Zas mid lane does not work, but Zas on side lane works because he is most oftenly used to push those towers as fast as possible with the ulti. For team fights, if you position your minions wrong, then obviously you're screwed. Now Lilia will stay in A tier. Valier is used as a support more often. Obviously Valier is probably the most often banned out of all these heroes right now, since Valier is so good against Kufra. But as a mage core, Valier doesn't fit as good as these guys right here. So Valier is more fit as a support. That's why I put him on A tier. Changi will stay in A tier. Sicilian used to be in S tier, but since the nerf, Sicilian will go down to A tier. And knowing that there's a lot of heroes that can pretty much counter Sicilian, just have a lot of gap closers. Since Sicilian's skills, you know, his skill is long range. If you go close enough, his skills will not affect you, and that's why Sicilian will go down to A tier. For B tier, we have Gord, Kadita, used as a support. So that's why Kadita will stay here in B tier. Kadita, you will see her again on the support tier list, so just forget about her for now. Odette will stay in B tier. Alice B tier. Nana is, you know, a lot of people ban Nana and a lot of people prioritize Nana, but again, as a core, Nana is gonna be in B tier. As a support, she's really good. Cyclops stays in B tier. Harley stays in B tier. Ganiver stays in B tier. Now C tier goes with Karina. Aurora is user support and is actually really good in the current meta right now, since she is a hidden gem pretty much. In my opinion, she counters Claude really hard. If you freeze Claude while he's ulting, you cancel that whole thing, and the hyper carry strategy just goes away. Alright, so Aurora will stay in C tier as a mage core though. Veil will stay in C tier. Vexana is used as support sometimes as well. Eudora is sometimes used as a support as well. So Eudora will stay in C tier. Faramis is used as an offlaner and as a support, but as a mage core, Faramis will go down to D tier. Alright, hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying when I say mage core or mage support and all that good stuff. Alright, so let's go on to the next tier list. Assassin core tier list. Alright, so again, some assassins are being used as support. A good example of that is Natalia. So a lot of people are doing Natalia support right now. So but let's talk about the assassin core tier list first. Alright, so S tier will go to Ling. Hyper carry strategy still is really good with Ling. Even with the nerf, she's still really good. But the problem with her is probably her early game. If you mess up her early game and don't give her any blue, then she's she's really bad. Selena is still good as an assassin. She's really flexible. Use her support, mage, and all that good stuff. So Selena will stay there at S tier. Gusion used to be in S tier, but will fall down to A tier because of the nerf. Hellkurt, you could use Hellkurt as a marksman to counter marksmans. Actually, the only marksman that could go against Hellkurt is Wanwan because of her second skill. But other than that, the other marksmen, if you waste their Purify, or if they don't have Purify, you could just Petrify, second skill, and they're dead. One auto attack and they're dead. You could burst out those marksmen really well with the Hellkurt. So he will be in A tier. Natalia with the revamp is actually a lot stronger than the old Nat. But as a core, she will stay in A tier. She used to be in B tier actually, but now will be in A tier. Hayabusa is still good. You can do funnel Hayabusa mid lane and is actually really strong late game. A lot of wave clear and has a lot of, with the new Heptases revamp, he is really good. Lancelot revamp is also really good. He got buffed because of the revamp. Used to be in B tier, but mid lane Lancelot is actually a thing now. Problem with Lancelot is if you go to late game, he falls off. So make sure to end the game as fast as possible if you are playing Lancelot mid. Now B tier goes to Fanny, Leslie, Lapu-Lapu, Corina. Now why are you asking Leslie? Why is Leslie on assassin tier list? Leslie is considered as an assassin by the game, so I need to put her somewhere here. So B tier will go to Leslie. If you do funnel Leslie, it's actually pretty decent, honestly, as long as she has a lot of protection and peel from her tank and support. She is okay. Now C tier will go to Alucard Zilan. D tier will go to Saber and Hanzo. Even with the Hanzo revamp, I just don't see Hanzo being a good assassin. Now I see Hanzo being a decent offlaner, or maybe even a support just to get the enemies buff. But other than that, Hanzo is not a good assassin core. Alright, going to the next tier list, it's going to be the tank tier list. The best tanks right now is still Grok, Kufra, and the new hero Atlas. Alright, Atlas is really OP right now. Pretty easy to set with his ulti. You can just press it and then drag it towards your teammates, and you're gonna get a really good 3-man or 4-man RKO pretty easily. Now Kufra was really close to going down to A tier, but considering that he counters a lot of heroes, he'll stay in S tier. A tier will go to Akai, Baxia, Lolita. Lolita counters a lot of marksmen, since marksmen are being used a lot right now. Belric, since Claude is a huge meta right now, Belric is a really good counter against this Claude meta. So Belric will stay in A tier. Hylos, on the other hand, used to be in S tier, but the sustain meta is really not that popular right now. So Hylos will go down to A tier. Carmilla tank is actually a thing. You could use Carmilla support or Carmilla tank. Some people do Carmilla tank, and it's actually pretty insane with Vengeance, and it's really hard to kill, a lot of sustain, and really annoying with the ulti and stuns. So Carmilla will go in A tier. B tier will go to Gata, Johnson, Tigreal, Franco, Minotaur, and Chu. Chu used to be in A tier for tank tier list, but not a lot of people use Chu as a tank now. They specifically use Chu as an offlaner now, not as a tank. For C tier, Esmeralda and Masha. Now, same explanation with Leslie on the assassin tier list. Esmeralda and Masha they are considered as a tank by the game, so I need to put them somewhere here. They're gonna go down to C tier. Uranus, on the other hand, will be going down to D tier. Bauman and Hilda. Now you might be saying, well, Uranus is being used right now a lot by the tournament and 5-man and even in solo duo trio queue. Now as a tank, Uranus is really bad, no CC at all. But as an offlaner, on the other hand, Uranus is really good. So that's the difference. As a tank, bad, D tier list. So, but as a fighter, let's go on to the next tier list. Fighter offlane. So these guys are gonna be the offlaners. All right. So some of these guys, they're really flexible. So you might see them on the other tier list as well. All right. So for the S tier, Chu is gonna be there. Jawhead, in my opinion, Jawhead is the best offlaner right now with Chu. Uranus is there, but if there's a Valier to build Necklace of Durance and just counter your sustain, then obviously it's gonna be harder to play Uranus. But like I told you guys, Uranus is good as an offlaner, but not as a tank. Even though you still build tank build with Uranus, he is only good with proxying and causing a distraction, pretty much, sustaining a gank. So that's what makes a good offlaner: sustaining and living and causing a distraction and pushing. All right, and wave clearing. So A tier will go to Leomord. Sylvana is really good right now. A lot of people have been doing offlane Sylvana, which is Sylvana was actually really close to getting S tier, but he will go down to she will go down to A tier. Terisla will stay in A tier with Badang. Roger, I told you guys from earlier in the marksman tier list, Roger side lane off lane is actually really insane. If you watch RRQ Hoshi, if you can just search it up on YouTube, RRQ Season 5 Indonesia Roger, and you'll see it. Xborg used to be an S tier, will go down on A tier though, since to be honest with you, he is really annoying to kill with the armor, since he does have that free dash and purify with the armor. But you know, impacts on split pushing and all that, team fight, he's really good, but split pushing, he's not as good as these guys, and wave clearing. Tamus still really good. Tamus was actually really close to getting S tier, honestly, but he will stay in A tier just because he is he doesn't have a lot of CC. He has slow but not a lot of CC like these guys. Joyhead has a throw, Chu has a knock-up kick. Uranus on the other hand doesn't have a lot of CC, but is a big distraction and is really hard to kill for the enemy team. Carmilla, some people do Carmilla offlane, that's why she will be here in A tier. Now, Faramis, you saw Faramis earlier at Mage, and you will see Faramis again on the support tier list. Faramis offlane is actually a thing, and it's actually pretty insane. So if you could try it out, he will be in the A tier list, A tier for fighter offlane. Martis will be in B tier, Dairos B tier, Alpha B tier, Aldous B tier, Ruby B tier, Hilda, Masha, Lapu, Guinevere, Bane will be on B tier. C tier will go to Argus, Zilang, Freya. Even with the revamp, I just don't see Freya. Freya's new range is just so short, and even with the revamp, with her shield on her second skill, whenever you do your second skill, your attack speed is a lot, you know, you don't need to build attack speed items because her attack speed increases whenever you use second skill. It just doesn't work. Her range is just too short, and her CC is not that much, honestly. Sun will stay in C tier, Alucard will stay in C tier. D tier will go to Kaja. Kaja is, you know, after the nerf on her dash, it's just not that good anymore. Mincy as an offlaner is really bad, doesn't have a lot of wave clear, but as a tank maybe, then he's okay. Bauman will be on D tier offlane as well. Alright, so let's go to the next tier list. This is going to be the last tier list. Now, for S tier, we have Valier. Obviously, you see Valier getting banned a lot right now in the current meta. Carmilla as a support, she is so flexible. You could do her offlane, you could do her a tank, you could do her support, and that's why she goes on S tier. Diggy right now gets banned a lot. Alright, Diggy is a really annoying hero right now just because his early game bombs are insane. Nana as well. Nana's second skill is really annoying, and that's why she falls down on S tier. She gets picked a lot, prioritized a lot. Natalia revamp, I told you guys earlier, you saw her on the assassin tier list. The new revamp, if you play Natalia support really well and focus the cores, especially that the marksmen are a big meta right now, Natalia is actually insane, and you might see that once MPLPH is back up. Alright, A tier will go to Rafaela, Estes, Minotaur, Lolita, Faramis, and Aurora. And I was talking about Aurora earlier. Aurora can counter Claude, and that's why she falls down as a support tier list A tier here. Her burst, she could pretty much burst anybody except for tanks, obviously, any core if she wanted to with her ulti or her second skill alone. It's actually pretty insane if you just use it correctly. If you hit your big ulti, your freeze ulti on a team fight, it's a big game changer. But it's really dependable on the play, the user's hand. So Faramis will go to the A tier. Faramis used to be in B tier, but will go up to A tier. As a support, he's actually pretty decent now and really annoying. B tier will go to Kaja. Kaja used to be in S tier actually, or actually used to be in A tier. After that nerf on his dash, Kaja is just not that good anymore. His ulti is still really good, but it's so predictable now that he will fall down on B tier. Kadita uses support, will go down to B tier. Vexana uses support, will go down to B tier. Eudora uses support, will go down to B tier as well. And Angela will be lastly on C tier. Sorry for the Angela users. She is that useless right now in the current meta. So that is it for the tier list. If you have any problems with this tier list, just make sure to comment that below. Criticisms, feedbacks are allowed, just as long as you're respectful. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm going from with this tier list. For the people that will bash me, because especially that Roger that I put on a really high tier, hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from this time. And make sure to keep track of what these professional teams are doing, so you are aware and you can relate to my explanation. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, And if you have a friend with you, don't forget to share this tier list if you want to help them out. And you know, if they don't have all the heroes with them, they kind of have an idea on what hero to buy next on this current patch. All right, so thank you guys. I'll see you guys, and that is it. Peace out.